So this right here is my original copy of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater from the PlayStation 1 era. Now I prefer this version over the other ones is generally because I just prefer the controls over this one over the others. It just had the best ones. Now this has seen better days. It's scuffed up a little bit, at least with this casing and all that. But, you know, fond memories of this, and I'll go over those fond memories. And this is going to be a nostalgia attack, so if you don't like those type of videos, your brain's about to explode. So, alright, this right here I tried out originally on the PlayStation Magazine store thingy, and that PlayStation Magazine had demos and this was one of them, so I tried it out and I played the first level with Tony Hawk and Burnquist dozens of times, and I mean dozens and dozens of times, until eventually I caved in, saved up my money, and went down to KB Toys and purchased this game. I remember when I was sitting in the car, I mean most kids or folks from yesteryear remember doing this most likely, is sitting in their passenger side or the back seat just looking at this game continuously when they go home, or any game in particular, just staring the holy hell out of it. Now, again, this game's graphics has not quite aged too well. I mean, that's how it is with most 3D games. Either they're going to look alright, or they're just going to look good enough where you can see things and that's it. So anyway, let's go on to the review. Now before we head this mediocre death trap I'd like to call Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, we had this game right here. Yeah, something like that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was originally a hybrid of two different styles of genre, combining arcade elements with a score system where each time you perform a trick like a kickflip or a grind, or even a special trick such as the 360 flip to mute for Tony Hawk, it was generally always accumulated to how long you can hold the tricks as well as perform those said tricks. Now, each character has their own set of stats, as well as weaknesses and advantages versus the other ones. So, one can do tricks better via doing kick flips, or holding air, or doing grinds pretty well versus the other ones. My normal choice originally was Rune Guffberg, generally because I liked his tank top at the time, and, you know, quite frankly, I didn't quite know too much about skateboarding when I was playing this said game. I was aware of the said sport, but again, I was not a kid that can skateboard because I'd usually fall on my ass. The level design in this game, by definition, is excellent, featuring plenty to do and plenty to explore per section. Now, you have 2 minutes to complete each level, and do all the tasks above, which for some veterans is probably no big deal, but for new players it would take you quite a while, adding some replayability by a definite scale. The level design in this game by definition is excellent, featuring plenty to do and plenty to explore per section. Now you have 2 minutes to complete each level, and do all the tasks above, which for some veterans is probably no big deal, but for new players it would take you quite a while, adding some replayability by a definite scale. Each level, exception to the event ones, has 5 tapes you need to collect. Unfortunately, due to the fact that the music in Tony Hawk Pro Skater is copyrighted music from bands such as Dead Kennedys and Primus, I cannot play them in this video. But I can say this one thing: it's a nice mixture of music, not the best out of the series, 1 through 4, but Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 I probably would say had the best of them all. A nice variety of different mixes of music to behold. Obviously Underground and Underground 2 had a great soundtrack collection as well, because it was just a massive variety of different music, but underlined, this one had a decent, if not pretty good, soundtrack to be listened to. While the soundtrack in this game aged pretty well, the graphics did not. Now, this is not to take away too much away from the game, it's just the eminence of the game is sort of debunkered a little bit. For example, the mechanics when you're moving around your skateboard look stiff. By stiff, it just generally looks super stiff. There's no leg animation, much like the sequel that was pretty acclaimed, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, where your leg moved when you moved around with the said skateboard. But hey, I mean, it's still, the gameplay is pretty playable and it's fun, so I can kind of overlook that little under blemish, I suppose, I guess. Touch me. So in closing, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, while not being the most visually impressive game, still holds up to today's standards of being a pretty darn fun title. It has very smooth and very elaborate controls. Everything is simple when it comes to combinations, such as doing kick flips or whatever else by simple 2 combination presses to activate a special combo, or in this case, doing up or up left and pressing triangle or square or circle to perform the said tricks. It all works still pretty damn good. So take it from me, pick up a copy at your local thrift store or your eBay or your Amazons or whatever online outlet you wish to pick up games from. Because while you're waiting for that void for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 to come out and hopefully change your mind and why you disliked the other 2 recent titles that came out for Tony Hawk Pro Skater, maybe this one will put a smile on your face again. Or if you're a new person to the series, this one will put you in a train of happiness.